The wind stirred the leaves as disciples gathered near the Buddha beneath the Bodhi tree. Ananda sat closest, his face troubled. "Ananda," the Buddha said, his voice calm and resonant, "look at the ripples on the lotus pond before us." Ananda gazed at the pond, observing the way the ripples spread outward from a single point of disturbance. "What makes you feel unworthy, Anand?" Buddha asked, his voice calm as the river flowing nearby. "I see others grasp the teachings effortlessly while I struggle," Anand replied, shame washing over his young face. Buddha reached for a small seed lying on the ground, cradling it gently in his open palm. "This seed, Anand," Buddha said, "contains the potential to become a great tree, providing shade and sustenance to many. Yet, it begins its journey as something small, fragile, and seemingly insignificant," Buddha continued, his voice like a soft hymn. "How does the seed transform, Master?" Anand asked, his curiosity slowly replacing the shame he carried. "The seed does not doubt itself," Buddha replied. "Instead, it embraces the sun, rain, and soil to nurture its growth." "Still," Anand said hesitantly, "I feel as though my roots are too shallow to grow into anything meaningful." Buddha placed the seed in Anand's hand and gestured toward a towering tree in the distance. "Do you think this mighty tree doubted its journey when it was merely a seed?" Buddha asked gently. Anand looked at the tree and imagined its beginnings, small and overshadowed by the other trees around it. "No, Master," Anand admitted, "it must have grown steadily, even when it seemed insignificant or weak." "Precisely," Buddha said, nodding. "The roots are unseen, but they bind the lotus to its source, providing sustenance and anchoring its existence," he explained. "So too must one in retirement draw from their roots wisdom, compassion, and strength, to create ripples in the lives of others," he said. "The ripples may begin small, yet they extend outward, touching every corner of the pond with their gentle presence," the Buddha taught. The disciples listened attentively, their hearts resonating with the image of the lotus and its ripple upon the water's surface. "Ananda," the Buddha said, turning his gaze to his disciple, "do you fear the stillness that follows a bustling life?" "Blessed one," Ananda replied, "I have wondered if life beyond action can still carry meaning, as ripples without the pebble." The Buddha nodded, his eyes soft with understanding, and said, "Life's meaning does not end with action but shifts into reflection. But I feel so inadequate compared to the others, Master," Anand confessed, tears forming in his eyes. Buddha took a deep breath, the silence between them soothing as the rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze. "Anand, inadequacy is a shadow cast by the mind," Buddha said. "It dims the light already within you. Do not let the shadow convince you that the light is absent. Every shadow exists only because of light. Each ripple begins from the center, but it touches the edges of the pond, bringing movement even to still waters," he said. "In the quiet of retirement, let your wisdom create ripples that stretch far and wide, nourishing those they encounter," the Buddha advised. "Doubt is not your enemy, Anand," Buddha replied. "It is a teacher guiding you toward a deeper self-awareness. Embrace the doubt as you would embrace rain that nourishes the earth, for it is part of your growth." Anand listened intently, his heart absorbing each word like parched soil welcoming the first drops of rain. The sun continued to rise, its rays dancing upon the surface of the lotus pond, casting reflections of light and shadow. The Buddha sat quietly, his presence like the calm waters themselves, steady and nurturing all who sought his wisdom. Each beam finds its own path, unhindered by obstacles. Your journey, like the light, will find its way. Trust in the unique path unfolding before you, Buddha added. Anand turned to the disciples seated nearby, noticing their quiet attentiveness, each on their own path of discovery. "I see now," Anand said softly. The path is not about being like others but about discovering my own light. Buddha smiled, his expression reflecting both encouragement and the timeless patience of a river carving through rock. Indeed, Anand, Buddha said, an elder disciple, known for his wisdom, asked about the power of silence. Buddha turned toward him and answered, silence is the canvas where thoughts paint wisdom. The disciples gathered around him, their hearts eager for the wisdom that only the Blessed One could impart. A carpenter named Chanda arrived, his shoulders heavy with the weight of sorrow and his spirit dimmed with doubt. Blessed One, Chanda began, his voice trembling, I spent my life creating, but now my hands are frail and purposeless. The Buddha regarded him with compassion, his eyes steady and serene, radiating the warmth of understanding and timeless truth. In the stillness of the night, Anand whispered a silent promise to himself, I will grow, one step at a time. And so, the lesson of the seed became a part of him, a guiding light through the forests of uncertainty. The journey was his own, and it was enough to simply take the next step toward his ever-present potential. Another day. Under the open sky, Anand sat beside a still pond, his thoughts clouded by an overwhelming sense of comparison. A tool's value does not end when its function changes. It transforms into a guide for others, the Buddha explained. In retirement, your wisdom becomes the tool, and your experience the guiding hand that shapes new minds, he continued. Anand, Buddha began, his voice like the steady flow of water. I sense your mind is troubled today. Speak your heart. Anand sighed deeply, his gaze fixed on the distorted reflection of himself in the rippling waters. Master, Anand said, his voice faint, I cannot stop comparing myself to others, to those who appear wiser and more deserving. Each mark is a testament to the life lived, to the contributions made, and the lessons learned, the Buddha taught. Do not lament the marks upon your spirit. They are the carvings of wisdom that shape your purpose anew, he said. Like the river, your essence flows beyond the judgments of failure or success, Buddha said, his voice unwavering. The disciples murmured softly, their hearts touched by the poetic simplicity of Buddha's teaching, their eyes fixed on him. When the pond is still, Buddha continued, it mirrors truth. When disturbed, it cannot reflect the light as it truly is. Anand nodded, his eyes tracking the stillness returning to the pond, realizing the symbolism unfolding before him. My mind is like this pond. Master, Anand admitted, shame seeping into his voice. It rarely reflects clarity or truth. Comparison, Anand, Buddha said softly, is the stone that creates ripples, disturbing the peace within your mind's waters. Do not fear the stillness of retirement. It is the space where your teachings and reflections find fertile ground, he said. Your story, like this tool, is not finished but awaits new hands to carry its lessons forward, the Buddha taught. Light does not compete, Anand. Each ray illuminates the earth in its own way, fulfilling its purpose without question. Your light, Anand, Buddha said gently, is no less significant than any other. It simply follows a different journey. Precisely, the Buddha said, his voice calm and steady. For the value of life is not defined by fleeting abilities. The purpose of each phase is to nurture the next, like the roots of the lotus nourishing future blooms, he said. Anand nodded, recalling the story and the wisdom it carried. Yet his heart remained weighed by doubt. The tree does not grow in haste, Buddha said. It grows as it is meant to, taking time to strengthen its roots, and in that time, Buddha continued, it offers nourishment to others, even before it reaches its full height and strength. Are you saying, Master, that even now, in my struggles, I have value to offer others? Anand asked, perplexed. Indeed, Anand, Buddha replied. The disciples remained seated, reflecting on their own lives and the ways in which transformation had shaped their journeys. The sun continued its ascent, casting light and warmth over the monastery, infusing each heart with renewed understanding. "I want to believe in my light, Master," Anand said quietly. "But the doubts return every time I see others shine." "Doubt, Anand, is the murmur of the mind," Buddha explained. "It seeks to distract you from the truth within. But doubt also has a purpose," Buddha continued. "For it teaches humility and the willingness to reflect deeply on oneself." Anand looked at Buddha, the words stirring a small flicker of hope deep within his weary soul. "Master, my heart hears your words, but my mind refuses to release its grip on these feelings," Anand confessed. Buddha smiled gently, his gaze never wavering from Anand, embodying both patience and compassion. "Come with me," Buddha said, rising and motioning for Anand to follow. Each disciple walked away with the image of the chisel, feeling the profound possibilities of wisdom within transformation and stillness. Another day, as evening settled, the Buddha led his disciples to an ancient banyan tree whose shadow stretched across the land. "Throw the pebbles into the pond, Anand," Buddha instructed. Anand complied, watching as the surface erupted in cascading ripples. "Now, look at the reflection," Buddha said. Anand gazed at the distorted image, its clarity scattered by the ripples. "Master, the reflection is unclear," Anand observed, his brow furrowing in frustration. "The image no longer mirrors truth." Buddha nodded knowingly, his own reflection serene in the shifting waters. "This is what comparison does, Anand. Comparison scatters your peace, distorts your perception, and pulls you away from the light within," Buddha explained. "But the ripples fade, Anand, as does the distortion they cause. Do you see the creatures resting beneath this shadow? The travelers finding comfort and the birds nesting within its branches?" he asked. The disciples nodded, observing the harmony of life supported by the silent, enduring presence of the banyan tree. "But the ripples return, Master," Anand said hesitantly. "How can I stop throwing stones into my own mind?" "Do not seek to force the waters to remain still," Buddha replied. "Seek instead to find peace in the ripples." "How can I find peace in the ripples, Master, when they unsettle me?" Anand asked, confusion clouding his voice. "By accepting the ripples as part of your journey, Anand," Buddha explained. "Not as obstacles but as teachers." Anand gazed at the pond once more, its surface still shifting but now somehow less threatening to his sense of self. "Your years of experience are the roots that anchor you, enabling your wisdom to cast a shadow upon those seeking guidance," he said. "The stillness of retirement is not lifeless but holds the power to nurture and transform lives in quiet, profound ways," he said. "That stillness," Buddha continued, "cannot be disturbed by stones or shadows. It exists beyond the surface, beyond the mind." Anand closed his eyes, the words resonating within him, reaching a place untouched by his fears and comparisons. "I want to find that stillness, Master," Anand whispered, his voice fragile but filled with determination. "You already possess it, Anand," Buddha replied. "It is not something to be found but something to be realized." As the sun set, its rays painting the pond in hues of gold and crimson, Anand felt a small shift within. The comparisons that had once consumed him now seemed less daunting. Their ripples a natural part of life's waters. Buddha turned to leave, but before he did, he looked at Anand and said one last thing. "Remember, Anand, your light does not diminish because of another's brightness. It shines uniquely, just as the stars do." Anand bowed deeply, his heart lighter, his thoughts calmer, and his path a little clearer. Retirement, the Buddha had taught, was not the end but a beginning of wisdom shared, purpose renewed, and lives transformed. The shadow of the banyan tree remained, touching all who passed beneath it, as the Buddha's words touched each disciple's heart. Another day, as the disciples journeyed through a dense forest, Anand walked close to Buddha, seeking solace from his thoughts. The forest path was lined with thick mud, the air heavy with the scent of earth and decaying leaves. The banyan tree stood tall, its shadow a living symbol of the enduring power of wisdom and compassion in stillness. The ripple of the Buddha's teachings continued to extend, touching lives far beyond the moment and the space they were given. The shadow beneath the banyan tree became a sanctuary, carrying the peace and purpose born of transformation and reflection. The disciples carried the lesson, their hearts inspired to let their own wisdom cast shadows that nurtured and guided others. But Master, Anand said, the mud seems so unclean. How can it nourish something as beautiful as the lotus? Buddha turned to face Anand, his gaze steady, his voice calm and deliberate as he continued his teaching. The mud represents struggle, Anand, Buddha explained. It holds nutrients that the lotus draws upon to grow and thrive. The lotus does not resent the mud, Buddha added, for it understands that the mud is a part of its path. Anand looked again at the lotus, its petals glowing in the sunlight, standing in stark contrast to the surrounding swamp. Do you see, Anand? Buddha asked gently. The lotus blooms because it embraces the mud, not by rejecting it. Are you saying, Master, Anand asked hesitantly, that my struggles and doubts are like the mud for my growth? Exactly, Anand, Buddha replied, a faint smile gracing his lips. Your struggles are not obstacles but teachers in disguise. But I feel so burdened by my doubts. Master, Anand confessed, they weigh me down, making growth seem impossible. Doubt is heavy only when you resist it. Anand, Buddha said, when you accept it, it becomes a part of your strength. Impermanence is life's essence. Cherish each moment, as the tree cherishes sunlight before it fades. Each lotus here has grown through the same mud, Anand, Buddha said, yet each one blooms uniquely, in its own time. Does the lotus question its worth? Anand? Buddha continued, does it compare itself to others? Or does it simply bloom? Anand shook his head, realizing the absurdity of a lotus engaging in self-doubt, understanding the metaphor within the question. Master, I see now, Anand said softly. The lotus does not judge its journey. It simply follows its nature to bloom. Buddha nodded, his expression reflecting both encouragement and the timeless patience of one who understands the unfolding of truth. Your doubts, Anand, Buddha said, are not your enemy. They are the mud that will nourish your unique light to bloom. The villagers, too, carried the teaching home, their hearts softened, their perceptions forever shifted by the lesson of the crooked tree. The Buddha's teachings continued to flow like a river, nourishing minds and souls, bringing clarity and peace to all who listened. By observing them without judgment, Anand, Buddha replied, allow your doubts to exist, but do not let them define you. Do not push them away or cling to them, Buddha continued. Let them flow through you, like water through open hands. Anand closed his eyes, breathing deeply, imagining his doubts as ripples in the pond he had sat beside days earlier. Master, I feel a small peace within me, but it is fragile, Anand admitted. How do I strengthen it? Peace grows, Anand, when you tend to it daily. Like a gardener caring for a seedling, Buddha said. Each time you notice a doubt, acknowledge it without fear, Buddha added, and then return to the light within you. Anand felt a warmth within, a sense of possibility that had been buried beneath layers of comparison and self-criticism. The Buddha spoke again, his voice blending with the sounds of rushing water. Interconnectedness teaches harmony, balancing individuality and universality within existence. Mahakashyapa asked, Master, does interconnectedness diminish the boundaries between beings? Can it unite us without losing our essence? The Buddha replied, interconnectedness does not erase boundaries. It requires patience, persistence, and faith in its path. Your journey is no different, Buddha continued. Each step, each struggle, and each moment of clarity is part of your blooming. Anand bowed deeply, gratitude welling within him, his heart carrying Buddha's words like a lantern illuminating his way forward. As the disciples resumed their journey, Anand found himself walking with a lighter step, the burden of doubt less oppressive. The lotus in the swamp remained vivid in his mind, a constant reminder of the beauty born from struggle. Awareness restores harmony, allowing the river to heal and thrive. The disciples reflected on the significance of his words, their hearts striving to embody the harmony the Buddha described. Is this true? Buddha smiled, his eyes reflecting a profound sense of understanding and compassion. Yes, Anand. In understanding, we find unity, just as the lotus blooms in the same swamp but remains unique. So too do we each follow our own path. Anand felt a deep sense of connection to the other disciples, the forest, and even the struggles he had once resented. The journey ahead seemed less daunting, its challenges less like barriers and more like opportunities for growth and learning. The sound of the river carried the Buddha's teachings onward, blending them with the timeless symphony of existence itself. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.